Hello, this is Brittany Carroll, and for the data collection technique that I chose this week was journals. So, as our chapter 5 states, journals, the journal act as a, they act as a narrative technique and records events, thoughts, and feelings that have importance for the writer. As a record kept by a student, it can inform the teacher, researcher about changing thoughts and new ideas and the progression of learning. Journals are a valuable data resource. Journals can be used as a whole class, per student, and even as teacher journals. This is a more than a single data source because it's an ongoing collection of journal entries. And it's keeping track of more than just the observations, but you're able to capture the students' thinking in through their journal entries. The process and procedures that are unique to journals. Journals are unique in that they return more open-ended answers than most data collection methods, and the procedure is such that it requires actual reflection and the development of cohesive thoughts from the student. So if we're talking about student journaling, this is when they're reflecting on a question or a task at hand and coming up with their open-ended response. And it's a lot of their opinion and thoughts from what they're working on. However, journaling can also be done as a teacher as a reflection of their teaching practice throughout the research project. They also mentioned throughout our different readings this week about doing class journals, where it could be sort of in a center and students would, again, add their opinion or thoughts to whatever the prompt is, but it's as a class, so it doesn't get as detailed into each student. This is a qualitative data collection technique, and it's qualitative because it's gathering words and non-numerical data. It is a narrative technique because it's gathering information through the open-ended journal entries. So again, we're gathering words and thoughts instead of anything to do with numbers. This type of technique, journaling, answers questions about thoughts and feelings on the new technique that is presented. It allows the students to reflect and to dig deeper into their thoughts, beliefs, and their learning process. It's also a great way for them to keep track of experiences that are happening throughout the school day or week, months, or the year, however long you're planning to do the journaling assignment. Some strengths for the journaling technique are that students' journals allow the teacher to gain an insight into the student's thought, perception, and experiences. It really gives the teacher an inside look as to what the student is doing or learning. Teacher journals are also an ongoing reflection of their practice, which is always great to be reflecting on your teaching, being able to take notes to improve your lessons. So it's helpful for teachers to be journaling as well as students. It's also an easy way to include triangulation in my research because students' journal entries can be compared to the observations I make in class as well as their assessments. So, in through their journal entries, if I'm seeing different answers than what I'm observing or their assessments are stating, then I'll be able to validate that and go from there. There are a few weaknesses with journaling. One, it can take time to demonstrate a thorough entry. I think it's important, especially in my case, when I'm teaching 9 and 10-year-olds, to model how to effectively make a journal entry and how to answer a question completely. Some answers could be biased. I could see some students not being honest, but giving the answer maybe I want to hear or telling me what I want to hear instead of what they're really thinking or feeling. Also, without the use of some other data collection techniques, a journal response does not gauge how effective the new technique or method is for the student. So it's best to, again, include those observations or another form along with journaling. It's also an independent task, which can be tricky for time management. So students need to make sure they're getting their journal entries in and completed on time. Again, with the younger kids, it's something that we need to remind them. So it could be a weakness that it's not necessarily done as a whole group in the classroom, but on their spare time. A few concerns with journaling are, again, without the use of other data collection methods, there's a serious concern with the validity because the use of just a journal cannot be trusted as the sole measure for success. In order for the study to be more reliable and credible, at the very least, the journal entry should be compared to classroom observations. Like I said before with the triangulation, that I do plan on using journals in my action research, but I will also be incorporating classroom observations as well as reviewing their assessments that go along with the journal entries. Not much of an ethical concern, but sometimes journals are, an insight into the student's world. So something could be recorded in the journal that is not appropriate or something that needs to be reported. So along with the good information, unfortunately, with a journal type entry, they could include something that needs to be addressed a little bit further than just in the journal entry. And then my references of the 3 readings that I used for this week's presentation. Thank you.